Please be seated. As the 11th president of Randolph College, I am honored to welcome the members of the class of 2026. As well as their families and friends to commencement at Randolph College and to declare these exercises to be officially opened. I would especially like to thank and acknowledge all of the mothers and mother figures in the audience who are sharing their Mother's Day with us today. Thank you for being here and for being such an important part of our graduates' lives. From the hallowed halls of this great college have come civic and economic leaders who help make a difference in their communities, their nation, and indeed the world. Since our humble beginnings in 1891 as Randolph-Macon Women's College, we have never shied away from our commitment to providing a uniquely personalized education in the liberal arts that prepares students to engage the world critically and creatively, live and work honorably, and to experience life abundantly. Today, we add these women and men before me to the list of graduates who are leaving this college prepared to reach extraordinary levels of achievement. Before we go any further in the program, I would like to invite our Presidential Ambassador, Severin McNulty, class of 27, to share our land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge the land Randolph College occupies was inhabited by YESA, but due to warfare, disease, forced migration, assimilation, and broken treaties, the people were reduced in number and were forced to a fraction of the land they once occupied. Today, descendants of the original people of the land, the Monacans, understand that the land is the people and the people are the land, and we are not strangers on any of the land that was once considered our territory. They are not relics of the past, they live among us, and we honor them. Thank you.
Thank you, Severin. Good job. Thank you, Severin. Members of the class of 2026, today we gather to celebrate your remarkable achievements and to honor the spirit that has guided you through your journey at Randolph College, the pursuit of vita abundantior, the life more abundant. I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to acknowledge all of the many people who have stood by you and supported you during your years at Randolph. This includes everyone from your family and friends to the faculty and staff, to our board of trustees. Your hard work and perseverance have led you to this amazing accomplishment. I urge you never to forget all of those who work behind the scenes in your life to support you and help you pursue your goals. An abundant life begins with learning how to think. At Randolph, you've been asked to question assumptions, weigh evidence, and consider perspectives different from your own. You have learned that good thinking is not about having all the answers. It's about staying curious, listening carefully, and being willing to change your minds. These habits will serve you long after today. This kind of thinking grows best in a pluralistic community. Our campus brings together people with different experiences, identities, and viewpoints. At Randolph, We know that difference is not something to avoid, it's something that strengthens us. When you encounter ideas that challenge your own, your understanding deepens. When you engage across disagreement, you build empathy. When you work together despite differences, you prepare for the realities of a complex, interconnected world. During your time at Randolph, you have done exactly that. You have learned alongside one another, asked difficult questions, and discovered that meaningful progress often begins with curiosity and respect. In doing so, you have grown not only as students, but as global citizens who are ready to engage thoughtfully and responsibly wherever your paths may lead. These qualities matter deeply in this moment. Our communities and the institutions that sustain them depend on people who can think critically, evaluate information carefully, and engage constructively across differences. They need individuals who value dialogue, seek understanding, and work toward the common good. You leave Randolph not just prepared for this work, but ready to take it on. As graduates shaped by a pluralistic community such as ours, you are part of a generation whose curiosity, empathy, and integrity are needed now more than ever. Stay curious, listen generously, lead with integrity. Let your life be more abundant and be more abundant that strengthens your communities, broadens understanding, and helps sustain the democratic ideals that depend on thoughtful, engaged citizens like you. And most importantly, never underestimate your power to make a difference in this world. It is my pleasure now to introduce our 2026 commencement speaker, Stacey Robbins Kennedy, class of '95. A graduate with degrees in sociology and cultural anthropology, Stacey's path began here and quickly expanded across the world, from a summer in Indonesia and a junior year in England to leadership roles spanning Europe and South and Southeast Asia. She began her career as a territory sales manager with Philip Morris USA, and by age 32, became the youngest vice president ever appointed at Philip Morris International. Today, she serves as U.S. CEO of Philip Morris International and President of the Americas, where she leads with a focus on innovation, corporate responsibility, and improving public health. Stacey's career has been marked not only by professional achievement, but by a commitment to global perspective and meaningful impact. She has been recognized with the One Planet Woman of the Year Award and the Impact Award from the Women's Business Development Council of Connecticut. And she continues to shape conversations about leadership and business through her service on the CNBC CEO Council and the Fast Company Executive Board. Last year, Stacey was one of our Alumni Achievement Award winners, a recognition of both her accomplishments and the example she sets for today's graduates. Her journey reflects the curiosity, courage, and sense of purpose that define a Randolph education. Please join me in warmly welcoming Stacey Robbins Kennedy home to Randolph.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be home. President Ott Rollins, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, proud families, especially mothers wishing you Mother's Day today, and friends, and above all, the graduates of the Randolph College class of 2026. It's an extraordinary honor to stand before you today. When I sat where you're sitting, well, not exactly where you're sitting, it was over there, but very close to where you're sitting, I wouldn't have believed it if someone had told me that some 3 decades later, I would back here delivering a commencement speech. And yet here I am, but not because my life has followed a straight line, but because it's been shaped by many learning curves. Curves driven by curiosity, wonderful people, supportive colleagues, and my family. And importantly, by an institution that believes deeply that education helps to shape us to be more fully who we are. That belief is central to the Randolph experience for generations, and it still matters deeply today. Like many of you, just a reflection back on the last 4 years, I arrived as a first-year student, anxious, nervous, and homesick. I grew up on a small farm in rural Mississippi, so therefore Lynchburg felt like a metropolis to me as I moved into Bell Hall. As a scholarship and financial aid student, I had the opportunity to work for 10 hours each week on campus. The summer before I started, I received an application, and jobs ranged from platescaping in the cafeteria to administrative work. Having grown up on a farm, I considered that I had a master's degree in plate scraping. So I really wanted an administrative job. The only problem was that the application asked for my typing speed. I had never taken a typing test. So I asked my mother, probably amid washing the dishes or cooking the dinner, what was a good typing speed. She absent-mindedly replied, I don't know, I think 80 words a minute. So I wrote down 80 words a minute. Mind you, a good typing speed is 50, 60 words a minute. So therefore, a few weeks later, I received back a wonderful letter saying that I had received a job in the financial aid office based on my stellar qualifications. Panic ensued, and thankfully, my mother came to the rescue, as so many times mothers do. She gave me some sound advice. She said, okay, you have 4 weeks before school starts. Use that time to learn to type to 80 words a minute, and then your application will have been truthful. So I did. I was at the public library every day taking typing classes, and by the time I arrived on campus, I could type at 80 words a minute. So the lesson learned, please, don't fudge your applications. And if you exaggerate a claim, just make sure that you have time to deliver on it before you start the job. Now, as I look back and as I look out at all of you today, I think about what my experienced self would have liked to share with my younger self. And so I hope you'll allow for me to share 3 maxims based on my life experiences, my many mistakes, and a lot of grace granted to me. Maxim number 1, if you always do what you love, you will always love what you do. Sounds logical, yes? And easy, right? No, not so easy. And it wasn't for me either. And it's about discovering your journey. Being raised in a small community by public school teacher parents was wonderful. I especially loved summers. When I was 8 years old, I opened my first business, Stacy's Watermelons, selling watermelons from a roadside stand. Between each sale, I would voraciously read and I would dream about the wider world out there. I wondered what other little girls my age were doing in other parts of the world, what they were selling, what they were thinking about, what connected us beneath our differences. And I especially loved reading about faraway places. That curiosity brought me here. I came to Randolph, then Randolph-Macon Women's College, primarily because of its international studies program. And I took full advantage of that, as Sue shared with you, including a summer in Indonesia, courtesy of a Pew Grant. Little did I know that years later, I would have the opportunity to oversee a major company in that country. That was an honor. And I spent my junior year abroad in the Reading program, where I learned alongside my colleagues under our beloved Ivies. I majored in cultural anthropology and sociology, and like many of you, and perhaps some of the parents in this audience, I heard the question more than once, what exactly are you going to do with that degree? At the time, I honestly had no idea. I just knew that I loved it. I loved studying about cultures. Now, just for practice, in my senior year, I completed a few interviews on campus, all the while determined to go to graduate school. I had my sights set on New York City and Columbia University. In my senior year, the then Randolph president asked me to speak to a group of CEOs who funded some of our scholarship programs. Afterwards, one executive asked me if I was interested in a job. I graciously declined, sharing my plan, and in the course of 5 minutes and the questions that he asked me, like how was a scholarship student going to afford to live in New York City? How long would it take me to get my PhD? What would I do with that PhD? How many books would I write? And importantly, who was going to buy my books? I came home realizing that the hard truth was that my plan was not very well crafted. I immediately wrote that CEO a thank you note and implied that I would reconsider that job offer. To myself, I said, oh, just for a year or two, just until I make enough money to go to graduate school. What I realized as I started that job as a territory sales manager is that it was like running a mini business, like my watermelon stand. Because if you deeply understand people, including yourself, and what you love, then you already understand the most important facets of business. It's people, consumers, customers, colleagues who make it all work. Although I began my career as a territory sales manager, I subsequently held roles on 3 continents spanning 26 countries, leading up to my current role as CEO of PMI's U.S. business. I've traveled quite some distance from that little watermelon stand in Mississippi, but I'm still the same person who loves deeply the same things. I love running businesses. I love serving customers, innovating products, building and leading teams. And I love what's at the core of cultural anthropology. I love nomadic travel. And what happened is I realized that when you weave the things that you love together, you can create your own career. A career for me of business, serving customers and consumers, and international travel and experiences. I'm so grateful to so many people who helped propel my journey, among them my Randolph professors, mentors in the registrar's office and president's office, the directors of the Financial Aid and Career Development Center, and that CEO who shaped a life-changing twist in my path by asking a few curious questions. So lesson learned, trust yourself, trust what you've learned, trust what you love, trust the process, and sometimes just have a little faith in the universe. Maxim number 2, purpose matters. Meaning, not just happiness, drives long-term success and a life well lived. What I realized over time about business is that at the age of 8, I wasn't really just selling a product, watermelons. I was selling an emotion, joy. For me, I love the special moments that watermelons in the summer brought. Backyard barbecues with parents, grandparents, and barefoot children running through sprinklers. I saw that potential in every single moment that I sold a watermelon to my neighbors, my teachers, my church members, and I would ask them their plans. I would suggest a way to have a more joyful moment with those that they loved. And I also realized that emotion, in this case joy, sells more watermelons. One day, a friend of my grandmother's stopped by to buy one watermelon. I asked her what was the occasion. She explained that her granddaughter from Atlanta was coming to spend the summer, and she was worried that her granddaughter, who was just my age, might get a little bored. I said, well, I have a solution. You can introduce us, and I can invite her to do some fun summer things with my friends and me. So she said, oh, that's wonderful. Why don't you girls come over for a barbecue on Sunday? I readily agreed, noting with a sparkle in my eye that new acquaintances are best formed while sharing watermelon. She laughed and she said, indeed, indeed, and I think I'll need to be buying a few more watermelons. Now, my work today as CEO of PMI's U.S. business is more serious and much more complex than that watermelon stand. But it's also joyful, for I'm not just selling products or managing a large budget or supervising a lot of people. I'm working for a purpose, which is to provide pragmatic, human-centric solutions to a public health problem through science-backed, FDA-authorized products, which are a better choice, a far better choice for adults who smoke cigarettes. And that is also about joy. I receive a lot of messages from real people, Americans, our consumers, thanking us for the smoke-free products that we've provided. A message from a wife whose husband smoked for a decade and shared with us that he was finally able to quit smoking by switching to one of our products, and the joy that that brings her and the family all around her. So that is what I work for. It's an incredible feeling to lead an organization built on innovation, science, and technology, all with a clear sense of purpose of knowing that what you do makes a positive difference in people's lives. So lesson learned. Blend what you love with purpose. That's how your work becomes meaningful. Maxim number 3, be intentional. Make your own choices before life and others' choices make you. Now, I'm going to be honest. As life goes on, it gets busy, really busy. For me, I became a mother of twins before moving to Switzerland, then living in another 4 countries across 2 continents in a decade, all while advancing through leadership positions and getting my MBA. I've often been asked, how do you balance it? My answer, which is the honest answer, is I don't. I just choose intentionally how I spend my moments. One evening while living in Serbia, my twins were 4. I finally broke down and I had hired some part-time support to help watch the kids after school. So arriving home one day from a work trip where I'd traveled across Europe, I sped through a supermarket, picking up hastily things for dinner. I came bursting through the door, quick kisses to the twins, they clung to my legs. I dashed to the kitchen, started unpacking those groceries and preparing dinner. After a few minutes, I looked out from the kitchen to the living room, and I saw someone else playing with my children, who I missed so much. And that moment, I had an epiphany, and I realized that I was on autopilot. I had outsourced the very thing that was most important to me. I'm not sure the dinner that night got made. I think maybe we ate cheese and crackers. But that night, after I put the twins to bed, I sat down and I wrote 2 lists. I wrote a list of the things in life that I value the most. And I wrote a second list of tasks, things that had to get done. We had to eat, laundry had to be done, things like that, and that could be supported by others. So at that moment, from that point, I redesigned my life. I created rituals that we stuck to religiously. Friday night, movie night, and sleepover with Mama for my twins. We enjoyed that for years, and we still do occasionally today, though my 17-year-old twins would be very embarrassed that I told you that. Today, we still take many of those rituals into the future. Each Saturday, it's a lunch over their favorite dim sum restaurant, sometimes together, sometimes one each at a time, to listen to what's important in their life, what they're focused on, and what they need most from me. As teenagers, I learned that you have to shift roles a little bit. Sometimes I have to ask the question, what do you need most from me today? Do you need to vent and for me to listen? Do you need advice? They'll guide me, and that's really important. But the lesson of that is that one intentional hour spent together is more valuable than 6 distracted hours spent together. And you have to be intentional in your choices, because if you don't, life will just roll on, and it's too precious to be on autopilot. So the lesson learned, be present or be absent, but don't be both at the same time. Life is just too short not to live it intentionally. If I may take a moment now to speak to the parents and the grandparents here today, because your presence matters so much, and so does the question that may have surfaced over the past 4 years. Was this a good investment? You entrusted your daughters and your sons to a liberal arts college in a moment when the world feels anything but predictable. What Randolph has given them is not just knowledge, but the ability to think critically, communicate thoughtfully, work with people who are different from them, and adapt as industries and lives evolve. These are the skills that employers look for, the world demands, that leaders rely on, and communities depend on. The return of this education will not always be immediate or linear, but it will be durable. By giving your children the gift of Randolph, you've prepared them for many chapters, many pivots, and lives of very meaningful contribution. None of us become who we are alone. I stand here today because of my parents, my husband, my children, who keep me grounded and are very clear that, in fact, job titles are not the most impressive thing about someone. And of course, because of my professors at Randolph, who believed curiosity mattered more than conformity, and that learning was meant to stretch us and doesn't follow a straight line. To the class of 2026, you're entering a world that's divided, noisy, and uncertain. And I hope that my words brought a little hope to you, because I wish for you to always do what you love so that you will always love what you do, to work with purpose so that meaning and not just happiness drives your long-term success and defines what a life well lived will mean for you, and to choose intentionally so that you make your own choices before life and others' choices make you. I use these to live life more abundantly for myself, and I hope that you will too, for you are prepared to engage the world critically and creatively, live and work honorably, and experience life abundantly. Congratulations, class of 2026. Vita abundantior. Go live that life more abundant.
Thank you, Stacy. I now invite our Director of Graduate Studies, Megan Hallbrook, to the podium for the conferral of degrees.
Will the candidates for master's degrees in coaching and sport leadership please rise? Madam President, it is with pleasure and affection that I present to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Coaching and Sport Leadership.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Randolph College, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts in Coaching and Sports Leadership, and declare you entitled to enjoy all the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The candidates for Master of Arts in Coaching and Sport Leadership will now be introduced.
Trent Proctor. Aaron Hill. Tyler Brubaker. Mallory Lane McKnight. Sterling Mackenzie Woodward. Valen Marie Foster. Paige Lee Scruggs. Ethan Hunter Meyer. Taylor Maynard. Meredith Rose Rankin. Alexander Ray Robson. Shamar Stanley. Renee Viola Kleins. Kendrea Brielle Beckett. Christopher Dean Kirksey.
I would like to acknowledge the following graduates in absentia: Mikkel Mayo Pitts and Anna Satina. Will the candidates for the Master of Arts in Teaching and the Master of Education please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Randolph College, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching and the degree of Master of Education and declare you entitled to enjoy all the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The candidates for the Masters of Arts in Teaching and the degree of Master of Education will now be introduced. I'd like to invite our MAT Program Director, Peggy Schimler, to the stage to hood each graduate.
Malachi Chapman. Jason Lee Edwards. Emily Elizabeth Davis. David Ryan Hawes. Bailey Scott Brown. Luis Enrique Larrazabal. Stephanie Frances Swithers. Caroline Canto Doyle. Nicholas Nathaniel Moore. Neve Orange Foreman.
I would like to acknowledge the following graduates in absentia. For the MAT program, Carl Donisakis. For the MED, Madison Taylor Holston.
I now invite the chair of the Faculty Representative Committee, Aaron Shreve, to the podium for the conferring of undergraduate degrees.
Good morning. Will the candidates for bachelor's degrees please rise? Madam President, it is with great pleasure and affection that I present to you the candidates for the Bachelor's of Arts, Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and the Bachelor's of Science, each of whom has completed the requirements for the college.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Randolph College, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer upon each of you the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, or Bachelor of Science and declare you entitled to enjoy all the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. I invite you to move your tassels. Squires, please stand. As a traditional symbol of the conferring of the baccalaureate degree, you may now hood your graduate. Graduates and squires, please be seated. Individual graduates will now be introduced.
Will the first row of the baccalaureate degree candidates please stand?
Piper Story DiMartino. Chase Alexander Kalan. Alana Elizabeth Ellis, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Elena Ann Snyder. Angelo Diasis. Connor Rothrock. Matthew Connor Painter. Brooke Elizabeth Rollicutt. Alexis Diana Connor. Jamion Mackay Tanner. Paris Layla Miner. Thomas Keegan Graham. Raj Brathaki. Peter Albert Babineau, magna cum laude. Aurelie Compton. Olivia Mackenzie Rose Galbraith. Isabella Karan Collins, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Ashley Dillon. Ryan Joseph Graves, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Ryan Matthew Davis, magna cum laude. Ryan Jason Henke. Gabriel Isaac Brainerd. John Matthew Campbell. Michaela Lynn Williams. Jessica Lee Taylor. Austin Faith Moran, magna cum laude. Chesney Jade Shook. Bethany Ann Martz. Desiree Page Scott. Kieran Elizabeth Reiter, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Amanda Starr Lawhorn, magna cum laude. Erin Kathleen Winslow. Britton Reed Malcolm. Estelle LaFlock Fernandez, magna cum laude. Adam Christopher Ulfers. Leighton Timothy Brightly. Ethan Earl Condon. Ashton Clay Forte. Trinity Star Sherlin, cum laude. Mackenzie Carol Woodson. Courtney Renee Harmon. Alana Dawn Ballou, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Elena Jennings. Jason Duval. Carlos Augustin Haupt. Rachel Renee Younger, summa cum laude. Haley Page Givens, magna cum laude. Brooklyn Joy Finnerty. Kylie Ryan Turner. Michaela Weil Paget. Megan Withers Lloyd, summa cum laude. Adele Ajewa Owuso. Dylan E. Paul, summa cum laude. Andrew Bernardo Hill III, summa cum laude. Jason Raymond Farnsworth, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Gregory Joseph Riechakowski, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Caleb Josiah Mink. Clara Jean Elizabeth Sims, magna cum laude. Fionn Margaret Williams, Phi Alpha Theta, Sigma Tau Delta, summa cum laude, honors in English literature. Lee Martin, magna cum laude. Matthew Allen Parker, summa cum laude. Cole Logan Burley, Phi Alpha Theta, summa cum laude. Aiden Tuck. Evan Nathaniel Shopbell. Taylor Marie Eshelman, cum laude. Benjamin James Hiss. Solomon Croft Lewis. Eleanor Margaret O'Connell. Emma Joyce Johnson. Rachel Jalen Fields, magna cum laude. Harold Holden. Molly Mackenzie Stevenson, magna cum laude. Garion Tassaroni Ewan. Dejane Nakia Pennick. Ayana Lachey Corbett, magna cum laude. Kyle Taylor Ferguson. Yusuf Shalabi. Cesar Octavio Ibarra Lopez, cum laude. Deshae Emoni Sharayan Bradley. Jacob Matthew Jones. Nicholas Xavier Cousins. Mario Quinthaniel Carter. Justin Taylor. What up? Luke Chapman, magna cum laude. Gracie Lynn Woodford, magna cum laude. Emily Page Jackson. Savannah Frances Cooper, magna cum laude. Zan A. Craigie, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Sydney Michelle Priest. Michaela Futai Woodard, summa cum laude. Cadence Lyric Bradbury. Scarlett Gabriela Meza Barahona, cum laude. Corbin Joseph Underwood. Lucy Keene, summa cum laude. Angelica Rodriguez. Richard Jacob Goldberg. Holly Marie Clark. Emily Allison Smith. Kyle Raymond Kurtz. Javon Jaden Joseph, magna cum laude. Nastasha Zaire Hamlet, cum laude. Patricia Scott Hamlet. Jason R. Parks, magna cum laude. Emily Brooke Morris. Skylar Brianna Teague, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Caitlin Lee Cyphers, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude, honors in psychology. Percy Galjour. September Autumn Taylor. Raquel Leonor Ferreira Morera. Sam Dubois. Natalie Claire Green, cum laude. Hope Alice Alexandria Dyer. Savannah Noel Gale, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude, honors in English literature. Wednesday T. Hertzberg, magna cum laude. Leah Camille Greep. Daniel Jesse Adams, summa cum laude, honors in psychology. Michael Quachi. Nora Yara Elkansa.
Well, that's Aaron.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Randolph College Class of 2026.
Good morning. I'm Tim Smith, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. The Maud Huff Fife Award is given each year to the student whose grade point average, or GPA, is the highest in the senior class. The award is named for a graduate of the class of 1918. While at Randolph-Macon Women's College, Maud Huff Fife was the senior assistant editor of the Tatler, a member of the Franklin Literary Society, the Quill Drivers, and the Sigma Kappa sorority. It is her spirit, leadership, and affection for the college that we commemorate when we honor the recipient of the Maud Huff Fife Award. I'm excited to share that this year we have 2 winners of this award. Each of the recipients achieved a perfect 4.0 GPA. Our first recipient has earned honors in English major, been elected to membership in Phi Beta Kappa, served as the editor-in-chief of Randolph's Literary Magazine, and has assisted her fellow students as a tutor in the writing lab and for classes in biology and calculus. In her senior year, she initiated and managed the Big Free Book Fair, a philanthropic community project held on campus that, as her advisor wrote, reminds us all that freely sharing the means and fruits of education extends the life more abundant beyond the red brick wall. Please join me in congratulating Savannah Gale. Please come forward. Our second recipient has completed a double major in History and Museum Studies and been named the winner of the Laura Lee Cannon Stevens Class of 1911 Prize in History. She participated in Randolph's summer research program twice, focusing on the history of Randolph-Macon Women's College and the Friends of the Rivermont Historical Society. She has also spent nearly a year working on an Associates of Applied Science in Emergency Medical Services degree at CVCC, while at the same time working on her 2 majors at Randolph. She won the Junior Firefighter of the Year Award from the Amherst Fire Department earlier this year and has been working as a part-time EMT. Please help me congratulate Megan Lloyd. Congratulations to both our winners and to the class of 2026.
It is now my honor to introduce a student leader who truly embodies what it means to make the most of a Randolph education and to pursue a life more abundant. Our student government president, Nora Elkanza, has spent the past 4 years fully engaged in the life of this college, not just participating, but leading, serving, and shaping the community around her. Within student government alone, she has served as a senator, treasurer, and this year, president. She also held the role of vice president of the Honor Code, helping to uphold the values that define this institution. But Nora's impact reaches far beyond titles. She has been an orientation leader, a resident assistant, a communications assistant in the alumni office, and a member of the tennis team, consistently showing up wherever she could to make a difference. As a psychology major with a minor in cognitive science, she has complemented her academic work with meaningful professional experiences, including a civil rights compliance internship with the Department of Transportation and her work as a sexual violence program intern with the YMCA. Fluent in both English and Arabic, Nora has a way of bringing people together. She shows us what really matters isn't just what we achieve, but the relationships we build and the communities we're part of. This fall, she will continue her journey at Marshall University, and we have no doubt she will continue to lead with the same purpose and compassion she has shown here. Nora, we are proud to call you a member of the Randolph College family. You have left an indelible mark on this community. Please join me in welcoming Nora Elkanza.
Okay, sorry. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Nora Elkanza, and it is truly an honor to stand here today as the student government president. Being able to represent the student body has been one of the most meaningful experiences of my college career. I have had the privilege of working with so many incredible students, faculty members, and staff, and alumni who care deeply about this community. Serving in this role has allowed me to grow in many ways I never expected. It has challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone, listen to different perspectives, and advocate for the needs of the student body. It has helped shape the person I am becoming, and it is something I will carry long after I leave Randolph College. Randolph has been more than just a place where I attended classes. It has been a place where I learned leadership, responsibility, resilience, and community. Over the past 4 years, we all have experienced moments of growth, challenge, and change. We have faced stressful exams, long nights studying, and moments where we questioned ourselves. But we also experienced laughter, friendship, and late night conversations, and memories that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I would like to start by extending my gratitude to the psychology professors who helped guide me through my academic journey. Your support and encouragement and dedication has shaped my passion for psychology and pushed me to keep striving. I also want to give a huge shout out to Donna Donna, thank you for all the laughs, the tears, and the long meetings and the countless conversations we've had over the years. You have supported me both through my successes and my struggles. Without your guidance and encouragement, I truly would not be standing here today. You believed in me when I needed you most, and for that I will be so grateful for. I also want to thank President Sue and the entire PLT for the support you have given to the student body and to student government. Your willingness to work alongside students has made a difference in the Randolph community. Leadership is not just about making decisions, it's about listening, understanding, and working together. I appreciate the opportunities you have given us to have a voice. To my friends, thank you for being a part of my journey. College is not just about academics. It is about the people you meet and the relationships you build along the way. We have shared laughs, stress, celebrations, and even things that were very overwhelming for us. The memories we created, again, will be something I cherish. Everyone who has entered my life in these past 4 years has served a purpose. Some people stayed for the entire journey, and some were only there for the chapter. And some people tutored me and became my friend for life. Shout out Hope. But every person played a role in shaping who I am today. But within all those thank yous, there's one that means most to me, and it's my parents. My parents are the reason why I'm standing here today. They are the people who taught me my values, my work ethic, and my beliefs that anything is possible with determination and perseverance. They are the people who supported me in every step of my life, even when the path ahead felt uncertain. To give you a little background, my father left our homeland, Lebanon, in 1982, when he was only 18 years old. At that age, most people are just beginning to understand the world around them. But my father made a difficult decision to leave everything he knew behind. He left his family, his friends, his culture, and his language in search of a better future. The reason why he left was war. War was a reality that shaped most of his life in Lebanon. My father came to the United States as an immigrant who did not know English. Imagine arriving into a completely new country where you do not know or understand the language, culture, or systems around you. Yet despite all those challenges, he refused to give up. He eventually made his way to West Virginia, a place very different from Lebanon. He worked hard to build a life for himself and for the family he hoped to have one day. He earned his bachelor's degree in civil engineering and began working for the West Virginia Department of Transportation, but he did not stop there. He went back to school and earned 2 master's degrees, one in computer science and another in engineering management. Today, my Baba serves as the Chief of Technology of the West Virginia Department of Transportation. My mother's story is just as inspiring. Also, Eid al-Umm, happy Mother's Day, Mom. She came to the United States later on and also left her family and her culture behind in Lebanon. She worked incredibly hard to build her own path here. She earned her master's degree in counseling and now dedicates her life to helping others through her work in mental health, supporting people throughout West Virginia. Thank you for pushing me into psychology, Mom. Both of my parents have sacrificed so much in order to create opportunities for their children. One thing they always reminded us growing up is that we should never take opportunities for granted. They always constantly pushed us to keep going, to keep working hard, and to never give up on our goals. They would remind us that there are many people in Lebanon who do not have the same opportunities as us because of the ongoing violence and external conflicts that continue to affect the country that we call home. Many people are not given the same chance to pursue education, build careers, or create a stable future. My parents always told us because we have these opportunities, we have a responsibility to make the most of them. Randolph also taught us something important during these past 4 years, Education is not about getting a degree. It is about expanding our knowledge and continuing to learn long after we leave this campus. It is about asking questions, being curious of the world, and being aware of our experiences of people who live different lives than our own. As we move forward in life, it is important that we stay aware of what is happening around us. The world is constantly changing, and learning does not stop when we graduate. We have responsibilities to keep expanding our knowledge, to listen to different voices, and to remain open to new ideas. Because education is not just something that happens in a classroom, it is something that continues throughout the rest of our lives. My parents built a life from nothing in a country that was not originally their home. They started as immigrants from Lebanon and created opportunities not only for themselves, but for their 3 children. My sister, who is in law school, my brother, who is continuing to accomplish great things, and then me, who's going to graduate school. But the greatest lesson they've taught us was to never stop trying. They would always say, you're given an opportunity different from the ones of your own blood due to their suffering. You have to keep going. They never told us something that was impossible. They never told us to limit ourselves or to settle for less. Instead, they told us to keep going, to keep working, to keep believing in ourselves, even when things become difficult. And that is the message I want to leave with everyone graduating today. No matter where you come from, your background does not define your limits. No matter what obstacles you face, those challenges do not determine your future. What matters is your perseverance, your willingness to keep moving forward, and your belief that you are capable of building the life that you want. We are all leaving Randolph today and stepping into a new chapter of our lives. Some of us will go to grad school, some of us will begin new careers, and some of us are still discovering what their path will look like. And that is okay. Life is not about having everything figured out immediately. It is about continuing to grow, learning from experiences we face, and moving forward even when the future feels uncertain. So wherever life takes you next, remember this: keep going. It does not matter where your roots are from. It does not matter where you started. What matters is your determination to keep building the life you want. Today we are graduating with opportunities in front of us that many people around the world are still fighting for. That is something we should never forget. You are capable, you are strong, and you will be okay. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2026. I wish you a future of success, contentment, and hopefully a good night's rest.
Thank you, Nora. Class of 2026, once again, congratulations. Woo! With all my heart, I believe your liberal arts education is your ticket to the future. Randolph College has done its very best to help you learn how to think critically and creatively, how to communicate your ideas effectively, and how to navigate the world beyond the red brick wall. That world is waiting for you, graduates, and you now have the tools to make it better. And I know you will do just that. Will you all please stand and join us in the singing of the college song led by Professor of Music Randall Spear with student members of chorale. Please remain standing for the recessional. Thank you and have a wonderful Mother's Day.